Okay, I'm going to show you how to export your final movie out of After Effects and bring it into Encore for burning on a DVD. Okay, so we'll start by looking at After Effects. So here in After Effects, I've got my main composition, which has my final edit. So this composition, if we have a look at the settings, I've built this in high def. Now, to burn onto a DVD, we have to burn in standard def. Unless we're burning a Blu-ray, which we don't have, most of us don't have Blu-ray burners or players, you'll have to, at some stage, it will have to be converted to standard def. Now, I found the easiest way to do this, and especially if you're working in After Effects, is to just simply create a new composition and dump this in. So what I've done here is I've created a new composition. All I've done is let's see, master comp. I've just grabbed this and I've jumped that into a new composition. So in this composition, I have my master composition. So I'm just going to come up to composition settings and I'm going to change this to PAL DV widescreen. Now, usually when we're in After Effects class or we're building something in After Effects that we're not sending off to anywhere else, we'd usually choose widescreen square pixel. For this purpose, we don't want that. We want just PAL DV D1 DV widescreen. So click OK, OK. Now, as you can see, it's looking all distorted. Don't worry about it. Just ignore the fact. It's going to turn out fine. But what we do have to fix is, in my case, I've built it in high def, we have to fix this. So just right click on it anywhere. You can right click on it down here in the timeline. You can right click on it here. You can right click on it here. So right click, select transform and fit to comp. So now it's all fitted. We've scaled down our high def footage into an SD comp. So that's all good. So I've gone ahead and I've done that for the other things that I want to burn to my DVD, like my shop breakdown, and at the moment I've got 2 edits here. Okay, so now we're going to jump over into Encore. So open up Encore and create a new project. For this purpose, I'm just going to call it test, and I'm just going to send it to the desktop. So project settings, we want to make sure we're choosing DVD and PAL, and click OK. Wow, there's nothing in here. So I guess the first thing we want to do is we want to make a menu for when we put in our disc into the DVD player. We want a menu for play or what have you. So to do that, we're going to go menu, new menu. So over here we've created a new menu. So over here in the properties, we want to change that to, and just call it our main menu. Will do for now. Now down here, this is very important. Where it says aspect ratio, choose 16:9. Very, very important. So to open this up in the monitor so we can see what's going on, just double click on it. Now it's blank. We've got nothing on it. So this is where we have to get creative. So we want to create some text and some buttons and some highlights. So I'm just going to right click and edit menu in Photoshop. So this will open up Photoshop for us. Now it's completely blank. We've got nothing on it. So rather than sit here and make one, I'm just going to show you an example of one that I've made earlier for my project. So I'm just going to navigate to that. Let's see, existence project, DVD art, menu template. Right. Now, as you can see, I've made my background with my titles and everything here in After Effects. So have your background down at the bottom here. And this next step is very important. I'm just going to rename these and call this. The naming of these groups and files and folders is very important. You should be able to find a little bit more information on this in the Adobe help files. But for now, just copy exactly how I have it set up here. Because for the buttons and everything to work, it needs to be exactly as this. Right. So up here, I've just got my title, which is this. And that's just in its own little group. I'm assuming that you know how to create groups, etc. That's not a necessity. You can have your title down here. It's not important. But the thing that is important are these buttons. So down here I've got breakdown, film, and animatic. So that's what these buttons are. Now they have to be in a group. So if you open that up, you can see I've got the text. And I've got just a little bit of an outer glow and a gradient overlay. And I also have a highlight, this little red square underneath. So what that means is when the mouse hovers over it, the red square will appear. When the mouse isn't over it, there won't be any little red box underneath. Now this doesn't need to be turned on, but okay. So what we're paying attention to here is the names. So you have your text, you have your highlight, and you have both of those in a little group. The group name has to have parentheses plus parentheses. I think you can name it whatever you want. That's not really important. It is a good idea to just say, okay, existence 1, so I know that's button 1. Or look, if you prefer, call it button 1, button 2, button 3. The text layer doesn't need to have any specific name, but the highlight needs to have a specific name. We want to make sure that it's called parentheses equals 1 parentheses highlight. Again, this is very important to make sure that your buttons work. Chances are, if you're going into Encore and your buttons aren't working, chances are this is why you haven't named them correctly. So as you can see in the other layers, I've got the same thing. So pause the film here if you need to, and copy this down. Okay, so when you go to save it, just make sure you have these turned off. I don't think it's really hugely important, but it's always better to turn them off. Okay, so you've made your menu. Now just go File and Save. And if you go back into Encore, you will see your menu pop up here. Okay, but since I've created this earlier, I'm just going to import my menu. If you've already created a menu first and made all the buttons and everything, then we just go File, Import as Menu, and navigate to where you've saved that PSD. Okay, so here we go. So I've got my menu, I've got my 3 buttons. If you come down here, you can test and it'll show you how the buttons are going to look. So this is normal when no buttons are selected. The second one here is when the mouse is hovering over it, and the third one option is for when you click on something, but I haven't set it to do anything when it clicks. It's not important. Again, make sure aspect ratio is 16:9. Okay, so now we're ready to start importing our assets. So for this, I have a few assets that I've already rendered out of After Effects, such as my animatic. So I'm just going to import as asset. And I'm just going to navigate to where I've got my animatic open. So I've imported my animatic. Okay. Now with the animatic selected, I'm just going to go to timeline. and select New Timeline. So what that does is sort of like in After Effects when we're creating a composition or dragging something into a composition, it's just made a timeline that we will attach to the menu. Alright, but for now we'll go on, and what I want to show you is the Adobe Dynamic Linking. If you've built your project in After Effects, there's no need for you to render out of After Effects and then import into Encore. It's a waste of time since Encore needs to encode stuff anyway. So the easier way to do it is come up and go File, go to Adobe Dynamic Link, and import After Effects composition. So we'll click on that. Now I've got a massive files here, but what we want to do is we want to look for our After Effects project file. So I'm just going to click on that, and on the right hand side of this little pop-up menu, you will see it has everything, all your assets and everything that is in your After Effects project. So for this, I just want to select the two compositions, or we'll just select one of them for this purpose. My composition, and I also want to select my breakdown composition, which is here. So just hold down Control and click to make sure they're selected. Don't need to bring anything else in, just those two, and hit OK. Now, same as what we did with the animatic, we just want to select both of those. We want to go Timeline, New Timeline. And there we have it. We've successfully brought in the compositions that we want to burn onto this disk. Now, as you can see here, even though in After Effects it's all squished, once we brought it into Encore, it's the right aspect ratio. Just check over on the right and check that yes, indeed, it is 16:9. And so we're all basically ready now to set up. So just in case you aren't using After Effects, remember that to import things, you can pretty much import anything. If it's already rendered out, like say, for example, here my animatic, you can see it was rendered out widescreen square pixel. That's fine. Preferably, you'd want to render it out as an MOV. I think that's a little bit easier to deal with than AVIs. AVIs, if you're on a PC, are fine, but MOVs, as cross-platform for Mac and PC. So again, I'll just go over that again. So if you're not using an After Effects composition and you have a video, what you want to do is you want to import as asset. Navigate to where your little video is and click Open. Then with the video selected, Timeline, New Timeline. Now, this is what another thing I wanted to point out. This breakdown movie, for some reason I had made it exactly the way my animatic was made, using 1050 576. But my pixel aspect ratio was messed up or something. I don't know. All I know is when I've brought it in, it stretched it. So if you've got a problem, you're either seeing this, where you've got the black banding, 16:9, but it was already 16:9, and for some reason Encore's tried to make it 16:9 again by letterboxing it. Don't ask me why it happened. Took me a while to figure out too. This is why I've discovered that just using Adobe Dynamic Linking is a lot easier. So I'm just going to delete that because obviously we don't want to use that one. And delete the timeline as well. Okay. So now we're ready to start linking everything and building our project. So I want you to come over here and click on the flowchart tab. Now click on the disk, and same principle as in After Effects with the pick whip tool. Where it says first play here, we want to grab this and we want to drag it onto our menu. So now when you put the disc in and press play, it will straight away go to our menu. Say if you had a little intro movie, you'd put that movie on a timeline and then link that to that and then put the end action back to the menu. Anyway, we'll get to that. So when the disc is put in and we press play, it automatically goes to the menu. Now button 1 here was our breakdown. So under where it says existence 1 or button 1, click on that, and over here where it says link, grab the little pick whip and drag it onto the breakdown. Do that for the next one. For the next one was our film. So click on link, drag it down onto your film, release. And the third one was my animatic, so I'm just going to click on this, link it to there. Now, click on the first little movie, set the end action back to the menu. Click on the second, end action back to menu. Click on the second, end action back to menu. Now, say that you wanted it to, instead of go back to the menu, you just wanted it to go on and play another movie. So you just click on that and set the end action to the next film. It's literally just linking things. So if you just got one thing, you don't need to worry about all the buttons. All you need to worry about is just the one comp, if that makes sense. We'll test it all in a minute to see how it's working anyway. So you put in the disc, goes to the menu, you click on the first button, it takes you to the first film. Once that ends, it takes you straight back to the menu, and so on. So menu, there, all looks good to me. Now, we want to test and see how this looks. So what we're going to do is come over to this little icon here, the preview icon, and click preview. So here we go, we've got our little menu. As you can see, as I move my hand over the buttons, the highlight appears and it starts. So this is how you can also test to see if you've got your highlights and everything working correctly on your buttons. So we'll just click on film, takes you to the film, and click down on this little icon here to go back to the menu. Breakdown. Yep, that appears to be working. Okay, so our project's built, everything's linked, everything's working. So now we want to burn it to a disk. So we'll come over to the build tab. The first thing we want to do is we want to check the project. We want to make sure that everything's linked correctly. So just click check project and then click on start. Now if any errors come up, it'll have a little message down here and it'll give you some idea of what's wrong. Like for example, I was doing this for Rose the other day and something come no end action on title. So I think it was one of the comps in here we had there was no end action set. Sometimes it wants you to have an end action. By default, the end action usually goes back to menu anyway, but for some reason it hadn't. So this is just to make sure that everything's working correctly, all your links are working. So if that's all working fine and there's no errors, then you're good to go. So here we go. All you really need to worry about is the destination. So obviously you'd want to choose your DVD drive. You want to make sure you've got a DVD in the drive. Write speed, I usually like to use a lower write speed possible. It might take a bit longer, but you know it's going to burn properly. So let's just give our disk a name. I'm going to call this existence. Using a DVD, so make sure the size is 4.7 gig. So all of that, you Won't have to really worry about anything else in this menu, just leave everything as default. Once you're all set, you're all good to go, just press build. Encore will save, and it will tell you to insert a DVD if you haven't already done so. So I'm not actually going to burn anything because I'll leave that till later, but that's the tutorial. So I hope that was easy to understand and I haven't rambled too much. And yeah, if you have any more questions or whatever, just give me a buzz and I'm happy to help you. Alright, signing off for tonight. Bye.